How you doing, everyone? Thanks for tuning into the second lesson on the Mozambique pattern. Today I'm going to show you a couple of ways of playing it, just like I was doing in the intro there, where we're actually moving the right hand away from one sound source. In the previous lesson, we were talking about, we basically just got you started learning the simple pattern. Well, it's not that simple, but learning the basic structure of it. But in that lesson, I was always playing that right-hand pattern always on the same sound source. So it was either on the bell of the ride with a little bit of the bow in there as well, the cowbell. You can do it anywhere you like. You can do it on the rims of toms and things like that. But today we're going to talk about moving the right hand onto the snare drum. I think you can get some really interesting variations when you move the right hand around as well. All right. So what I was doing there when I was going... you can see that I'm moving the right hand onto the snare drum. Now, not only was I moving the right hand onto the snare drum, that on its own is enough, that's fine, that's a variation, but I was actually trying to rimshot as well. And that's hard to do. You've got to really land the stick in the correct spot, and I'm going for that high-pitched rimshot, so I'm not going for like that solid kind of rock, funk, backbeat thing where I'm playing like the stick in the center of the drum and the rim at the same time, like that kind of... I'm not going for that sound. Granted, my snares are turned off. I'm going for that high pitch one. Right, that kind of timbali sound, if you like. And so what I'm doing, let's just look at the pattern first. I'm going... All right, so when I get to the last eighth note of the first bar, I'm playing my first rim shot there. Then we have the bar line. Then we have an eighth note rest. And then we have and two. And then I'm playing and as a soft note here. And then two as a high pitch rim shot there. All right, so again, it's that same technique, isn't it? Instead of going from the top to the mouth of the cowbell or from the bow to the bell, right? So tip and then shoulder of stick. I'm doing the same thing. So if you've got that technique down, all you have to do is like just move your arm in, as long as you're getting the placement of the rim shot correct, like lining the stick up with the rim and the drum head at the same time. It's the same technique, so it's not like it's completely different. But that it kind of, you know, you've got to get used to the coordination of moving it now, because if you're used to playing it all on the same sound source, it's going to feel a little bit weird to try and break away from that now. But that's okay. It's all just a learning process, and I'm still coming up with new variations of it. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, and 1. All right, so this is just a little variation that I've come up with. I'm sure plenty of people play this before. I'm sure I didn't invent it. And I would absolutely encourage you to experiment with your own things and come up with your own ideas on this. You can move it anywhere. You can move any part of the pattern anywhere you like. And this is just one that sounds good to me. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, and 1. And you put the toms in, and you get something like this. All right, a little bit faster. Now we'll put the feet in. So the feet are just doing quarter notes. 1, 2, not too fast. Bit faster. Missed the cowbell a few times there. All right, so now we have another variation. So I'm going to stick with what I just showed you, so we're not learning something completely new. However, at the end of the second bar, we're now going to play some floor tom notes. So we're actually not playing quite as many notes total on the cowbell. Now we're at this sort of final variation of it. So the pattern, if I slow it down, is this. So the right hand now actually starts on the floor tom, and you get and 1, 2, right? And 1, 2. That's the first bar of the whole thing. our Rimshot here a little bit better. Okay, you can do whatever you like with the left hand. I'm not even thinking about my left hand at this point. I'm really just thinking about what my right hand's doing. Okay, so all up you would have 3, 4. All right. You put the feet under it. 1, 2, 3. This has got to be one of the most satisfying patterns to play as a drummer. It's not uber complex. Yes, in the beginning, coordinating it, if you're just starting out or whatnot, you're going to find it a challenge. I know I did. But once you get it to that comfortable groove thing, and this is one of those patterns that it just has to feel comfortable. It's not edgy. It can't feel forced. It can't feel rushed. Yes, there's a lot going on, especially when you speed it up. There's barely a 16th note that's not being played. When I say it's not complicated, it's not super fast. Super technical, but there is a lot going on, but you've got to get to that point where it just feels really comfortable, and so yeah, that's another variation. You might want to put the floor tom down here. You could do anything that you like. All right, so at this point I encourage you to take it away and just think, where can I put that right hand? Can I put it on the rims? You might want to put it up on little effects, and there's all sorts of things that you can do with it. Experiment with it, have some fun. All right, here we go. I couldn't even tell you what I was doing then. I was just moving things around, and as I've said this in a few of my videos, it's kind of like panning for gold. I'm just sitting here, I'm obviously not at a gig, and I'm just noodling around with it. Some of the things that I'll play, I'll go, yeah, that actually sounds all right. Oh, what was that? I'll remember that one. And some of it I'll go, oh, no, I don't like that. So experiment, guys. You've got to come up with your own sound. You've got to come up with your own vocab. So experiment. If you ever see anything from any of my videos and you like it, take it. If you think, oh, not going to use that, don't use it. It's fine. You come up with your own stuff. And if I can inspire you to come up with some things, then that's great. I've done my job. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a cover soon. It may be this week. It may not. Of Late in the Evening. I'm trying to do a cover a week at the moment. And, of course, that is probably the tune where, Steve Gadd playing on it, by Paul Simon, that really made this pattern quite famous. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.